everyone. Welcome back to our weekly wellness podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Rebekah Zahedi, and today we have joining us Dr. Rodney, who is our Director of Wellness. So thanks so much for being with us, Dr. Rodney. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well.
Good. So today's topic is actually talking with Dr. Rodney about himself.
I don't like talking about myself. But
So
anyhow, go ahead.
we'll get through it. We're going to do a deep dive. No, we're really just going to chat about your background, your experiences. So I'm really looking forward to being able to chat with you about this and kind of introduce you really and who you are to all of our viewers at home. So very
give
excited.
you the big picture.
Absolutely, yes.
I'm from Northern Indiana. I'm a Midwesterner.
Mm-hmm.
But I have spent most of my adult life out on the East Coast of the United States. This is the first time I came back to the center of the country. I moved around some. It was just career opportunities that I had along the way.
Yeah.
And I have 3 adult children. One is here in Nashville, which kind of brought me to Nashville.
Oh, great.
That's Erin. She has 2 of my grandchildren. And then my son's up in Connecticut, which is where they all went through junior high and high school.
Oh, okay.
And he'll never leave his brothers up there in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And then my youngest, he has 3 of my grandchildren. And then Kelly, my youngest, lives outside of Washington, D.C., and she has 2 of my grandchildren. So that's kind of my family.
Okay.
I'm in my second marriage here in Nashville. I met her here after I moved here about 10 years ago. She has 4 grandchildren. So Christmas time gets a little lean buying all those presents for all those grandkids. But that's been kind of the history.
Great.
My professional experience in the East Coast was I oftentimes did counseling and did work in churches and public schools and even civic organizations, universities. And I just always had different opportunities. For 8 years, I was in Princeton, New Jersey, and worked a lot with Princeton University. Up in Connecticut, I did some work with Fairfield University, as well as some of the high schools up there.
Great.
And in Florida, I was down there 8 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a lot of fun down there. I mean, not just because of the Florida, but I had the opportunity. I was the counselor for the Miami City Ballet for 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah, that was fun. If you're interested in, I love those people, okay?
Yeah.
If you're interested in mental health issues and addictions, you want to work there. It's a very stressful occupation. They have to maintain weights. They've got all kinds of, they're all together, 56 dancers all together all the time.
Wow.
And they're always getting in fights, and they're struggling with depression and anxiety. And so I love them to death. I enjoy working with them. But it was just kind of like, it was a little bit different than all the other experiences that had more of a routine in it. I used to love to go there because I didn't know what I was going to find out today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can imagine ballet and veterinary medicine are probably pretty similar with intensive pressures and the inherent stresses that come just with the industry.
Right.
So that's fantastic experience, to have in your background. That's great. What actually made you decide to go into a career in psychology? What motivated that decision?
I come from a family with 2 brothers and 2 sisters. I have an older brother, then a younger brother, and 2 younger sisters beyond that.
Oh, wow.
My parents, by the way, were only children. I have no aunts, no uncles, no cousins.
Wow.
No
it's
family
very insulated
reunions.
there.
Yeah. And we all tried the best we could. And very loving family. We had some dysfunctional issues, though, especially around the subject of anger, anger between mom and dad, anger between parents and kids when we don't behave them. It was probably a little bit more than usual.
Yeah.
And so that's what kind of got me into this. Most counselors and therapists I found are there for the reason that we're trying to work out what I was experiencing during that time of my life and trying to figure out what that was all about.
Yeah.
And then we fall in love with the whole idea of helping others.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of my journey. I just got into it, in my bachelor's program, and then on through master's and doctoral degrees. I got more and more into it because I just got more and more excited about what I was learning about myself and
Yeah.
how to pass that on to others. And
That's
that's why I
great.
enjoy it.
Well, and I think it's a really beautiful thought that you're able to make a meaningful career out of something that may not have started as something that's optimal, an
Mhm.
optimal situation. You're able to turn that into something that's really changing lives and impacting people.
Right.
So I think that's really beautiful. What would you consider some of your major career highlights?
Well, the ballet is one of them.
Yeah.
I had a private practice in Raleigh, North Carolina for about 8 years. I worked
Okay.
with the court system there,
Mhm.
as well as with individuals, and there were some good experiences there. Actually, one of my highlights is that when I was in Fairfield, Connecticut for almost 9 years, don't hold me to the actual years, this time,
Roughly.
but the headmaster of Fairfield High School, the public high school, asked me to be on his advisory board to do some counseling for students that were in stress and that kind of stuff. And I enjoyed going over there. Now, it wasn't so enjoyable for my 3 children.
Right.
Okay.
Were they there at the time that you were?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought they would think it was cool. It wasn't until much later that they shared with me that it wasn't so cool. I'm fairly large,
Right.
and back then, I wasn't even thinking this way. I had a briefcase.
Oh, okay.
And especially in the winter months, I had this black trench coat with a hat.
Yep.
And I walk into the school.
Yep.
They later told me, we laughed about it, but I thought it'd be cool for me to be around.
Yeah.
But their friends would come up and say, "Hey, the Gestapo's here." That's what it is. The Gestapo's here. That's
Oh
it.
my gosh.
So then everybody's had to pay the attention.
Mhm.
Dr. Rod's here,
Mhm.
and it made them nervous whenever I go into the counselor's office or the headmaster's office, thinking I'm squealing on them or trying to find out what was going on with them.
Yeah.
I actually did, but not intentionally. Everybody come to me and tell me what they were all doing.
Yeah.
And so I later had to apologize for that. I really enjoyed doing it, but it made my children's lives miserable.
Mhm. Those years are hard anyway.
Yeah.
Teenagers, yeah.
So, but that's like one of the highlights for me, because I actually did see them often at school.
Mhm.
They played it cool and realized how nervous they were. It was not only them, it was their friends that would get nervous.
Oh, funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does your dad know about us?
Yeah, exactly. What is he going to tell my parents?
Right, exactly.
Which I wouldn't do that.
No.
There's worries.
There's
and
a whole
concerns about that.
confidentiality thing. Yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
What exactly attracted you to My Pet's Wellness as kind of the next step in your career journey?
Well, most recently, I've been working at a treatment center for mental health and addiction issues, working with the families, been there for many years, and that's very intense.
Mm-hmm.
And this opportunity came up. Brock Leach, our chief executive officer, contacted me, and he wanted to develop this wellness program. And I have passion for that. It's also a little bit of, personal development with people. And it's still intense at times and stressful, but it's a different way to go than dealing with somebody that's in a residential facility and all the pressure and stress that comes with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd never did anything exactly like this before, although I've been doing similar things throughout my career. But I just thought it was a great opportunity. And I was interested in it, and so I came in and have enjoyed doing this and getting to know more about the veterinary industry. I didn't realize before I started here, I've had pets, I've gone to vets many times. I didn't realize how stressful this occupation is, how intense it can be, how draining it can be physically and emotionally, how you're pulled in multiple directions all at the same time and you can never escape from it, all those kind of things. And, after I realized this, I was kind of saying, what was wrong with me that I didn't realize that this was such a stressful thing?
A lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Honestly, the more people I talk to who are outside of veterinary medicine, I've heard a lot of shocked responses that veterinarians experience compassion fatigue and burnout and,
Yeah, the compassion fatigue is a big thing. The only woman that's ever really loved me was my Rottweiler, Gracie. I'm kidding, okay? But I found her at the Humane Society in Fort Lauderdale. I just walked through there one day looking at dogs. I wasn't trying to get one. I already had one at home and I had a cat at home.
Yep.
And this little thing.
She chose,
No, I guess nobody likes a Rottweiler. It was a full bred. So I brought the dog home. My wife was very upset. I had to sleep on the couch that night. That's a true story.
Oh, wow.
But Gracie was laying on my chest and fell asleep. Oh.
So it's worth it.
Now, when she got full grown, that didn't happen anymore.
Oh, yeah.
But she was actually a really nice dog. Wasn't a mean Rottweiler at all. Rottweilers really aren't mean. They're just bad owners.
Misunderstood,
Okay?
yeah.
But, she got cancer. I was petting her one day. I felt some bumps. Took her down to the vet, and he says, "Oh, it's not good."
Oh.
And then I had to make a decision whether to have it put to sleep or to let it die naturally. And don't judge me. I just, at that point, I didn't think I could go through watching her.
Right.
So I took her to the vet, and by the way, it was September 11th, 2001. I found out about what was happening in New York City at the Vet's TV at the thing. Okay?
Oh, my God.
Now, where I'm going with this is, I was obviously upset.
Right.
I love that dog. I didn't know if I was going to get through it. I saw his reaction as well, but I didn't understand what I was seeing. What I found out from the vets is that they have compassion for the owner and the pet too. It's very deep.
Yeah.
And I was having a tough day, but they have to do this often. Sometimes, many times a day. And I forgot that that's a real person there that had that's the only place I ever took Gracie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So they
to
knew her
do
and
all the
loved her.
shots. And so that's just one of the things I've learned here about the difficulties of being a vet. And if you're a vet watching this, you can identify with that. If you're a pet owner, you're not the only one that has pain when the animal dies. And, the vet might be supporting you, but there might be some place for you supporting the vet a little bit too. And so that's some of the fun stuff I've learned. I thought it fun because I didn't know that. I like to learn things.
Absolutely.
And that's something I've learned. And so I hope that was appropriate to say here.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and like you said, part of joining My Pet's Wellness is that we try to be part of that support network for those veterinarians. So I think it's kind of nice that it's gone full circle. That veterinarians supported you in your difficult moment, and now you're joining an organization that really our ultimate goal is to be able to support veterinarians. So you're on the other side of that now.
Right, I am. And I'm enjoying that part of it too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, fantastic. I really enjoyed being able to hear more about your background and all of your varied experiences. Sure. It's fantastic. So thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you to y'all at home for joining us today as well. As always, like, subscribe, comment. Feel free to check out our website, mypetswellness.net/DVM support, if you're interested in any of those additional resources we have for veterinarians. Thanks, y'all.